Okay, I haven't done one of these in a while. Gun show review and kind of panic buying and the ammo hoarding, and that I do reports whenever I go to a show back during the Obama administration when there was a lot of this going on, this period of time. And it was insane. Those 8 years, I think they've sold more guns in the 8 years that President Obama was in office than they did for the past 20 years prior. So I mean, it was every year was a record-setting year for gun buying, and they go by the background checks from the ATF or whatever government agency does that. They just go by the number of background checks called in, and that's where they'd show that they were in the millions. And I remember even the smaller local shows that weren't that big. I went to the Winston-Salem show last weekend here in North Carolina. And I remember that show once at the state fairgrounds or something. And they had their one building. It's not a huge show, but the parking lot is quite large. And I remember one time after one of these massacres or something, and everybody thought they were going to outlaw assault rifles, you couldn't find a spot to park. I mean, thousands and thousands of people came to that little gun show. It was insane. Okay? And this is another thing that's happening, and I'm going to cover this in a couple other reports, is the prices jumped. Like at the time, an AR-15 rifle, just a plain vanilla one, simple one, nothing fancy, just a stock gun. Call it a base model. Right? They were going for about 700, 750, and the dealers told me you could buy them from the wholesaler for 5.5. Okay, so they're marking them up about 100, So that's kind of the idea of the price range. They had that one shooting, and they went there, and them guys were sitting there, and they told me, we just put $1,300 on them. And he goes, we're selling them as fast as people could come in there and lay $1,300 down. And actually, in the last day, the ones that had them left marked it up to $1,600 for something they were selling 3 days ago for $7, and they were selling it. Okay, and then they were gone. The guy said, I sold the 2, 3 rifles I had, but I called the distributor, and they're sold out. And they said, we're going to be sold out for God knows how long. So what the weird thing is even though there were no laws passed, the strange thing I'm seeing, and that's why I'm trying to tie in like the internet, computers, and how information is exchanged now. Nowadays, it's instant, it's global. If you got an idea or an expression, it travels, and there's no stability. People no longer look at, okay, I have this item or this item, and it's $3. Well, they're gonna ban coffee drinking, so the coffee mugs are out. So now I want $15 because you don't know. 2 weeks from now, you might not be able to buy a coffee mug, okay, or a month from now. And it's kind of like an opportunist type thing. People are making a lot of money out of nothing. Rumors, panic, hearsay. And now backlash is coming. And the weirdest thing is, the minute the Democrats are not in control, and Trump's in there and he's doing all this crazy stuff and like doing a complete 180 and going against everything that was done for the 8 years prior, it stops. Nobody's buying, nobody's paying. I mean, you can buy a very basic AR-15 rifle for $399. It's under $400. Okay, where 10 years ago it was a $700 item. Was the fair price. Now it's $400. So it's crazy, and they've sold a lot of guns. They keep manufacturing guns. And now this very bizarre, call it a backlash or something, is coming in. It's kind of like this Taurus Spectrum, okay? I bought this about a year and a half ago, or maybe 2 years ago, and when they first came out, when they were first released, they announced them at the SHOT Show or whatever, and then you waited a year, year and a half, and then you started seeing people selling them in the retail outlets. And retail price is like $250, $245. And I remember when they first come out, the one gun show I went to, I looked around. Some people were charging $260. I found one for about whatever that list price was, $240. So I bought one and did a review and everything and all this other stuff. I was cruising around on the internet, and Bud's Gun Shop has these guns on sale. Of course, they're all different colors. Some are white or whatever, you know. For $168 or something, new, on sale. So figure with shipping, handling, it's still going to be close to $200. So it isn't that, well, yeah, $240. It's about $50, $60 less. But the thing is, when you go to sell this used and somebody sees they're on sale for $168 or something, I think that's what the price is. It's something ridiculous. That means used, you'd be lucky you get $100 for this gun. Okay? And I paid $240 for it. You know, even if I was trying to sell it to a guy, say, hey, you know, these go for $240, $250, you know, I got all the box paperwork, I only shot it a little bit, give me $200, you know. You can't even do that. Okay? So now, and then another example was a Ruger, 9mm, compact 9s, SR9 or something. The guy paid $320 for it, and now you can get them on sale for $200. You know, something like that. It's crazy. So you have this backlash, which is something new now. And the gun shows themselves are smaller. Winston, you don't have a lot of vendors coming because they're not selling. Okay, compact guns like this, home defense, there's a lot of dealers that go there have handguns of a variety, which are always a popular seller, shotguns, assault rifles. One dealer had just about everything in the Henry rifle line, Golden Boys, all that other stuff. And these guys show up at every show, and you know, they do sell something. A lot of the larger dealers that used to go to all the shows, they don't come anymore, especially ones that have to travel a distance to larger shops, because it's not worth it for them. The amount of inventory they bring, they don't sell enough to justify going there. So you're seeing a lot less gun dealers, even the small ones. You know, tables are like $75 or $80 a piece. So you rent 5 tables, and you don't sell more than $200. You know, you're not even making the table money back. So why go? You know, pay your employees, all this other stuff. The hassle of loading, unloading, traveling. So you're seeing a lot less activity at the shows, like the Greensboro shows. There's a lot of vendors that don't come to that. It's a larger show. It's the only one that I actually go and set up at. But it's mostly die-hard guys like me, collectors, fellas selling, you know, reloading supplies and stuff. Local businesses still do come. Okay, that's one thing. But you're not seeing as many vendors as you did in the past. And then again, you know, it costs, I think, $12 to get in, and then you got to pay $5 for parking, so it's $20 to get there. Your turnout's less too. And another thing, that crazy panic and demand. I remember when the Greensboro show, they had to stop people from going in. Same at Raleigh, they had that one problem where the fire marshal come and said you got too many people in the building. You know, they had to seal the place up. Now, there's not that many people going. There's not that many vendors going. The prices on new stuff are dropping like a rock. The only good thing I found is this here, Federal small pistol primers. Now, going back to to the Taurus Spectrum, we had the thing about it misfiring on my reloads, where I was using CCI primers. And for years, people have told me that federal primers are the most sensitive. Something in the way they're manufactured, it doesn't take a lot of power to detonate them. I had a old Smith & Wesson Model 36 revolver, snub-nose revolver, and I bought it used, and I was at a gun club, and there was a couple pistol smiths there. And I asked the guy, do a trigger job. He bobbed the hammer and did all this, and do a trigger job with get a light double action pull. So he went and did it, and he goes, well, give me some of the ammunition you fire in it. And I said, okay. And when he did the trigger job and lightened up the trigger, the CCI primers, the hammer wasn't hitting hard enough to detonate the primer. So he kind of was upset and had to put the other spring back in and get my ammo to work. And then one guy, this is back over 35 years ago, and one guy goes, well, look, I know what the problem is. He goes, you got to use federal primers, okay, because they're sensitive. They'll go off no matter what. Okay, they're like the most sensitive and small pistol out of all the brands at the time. I'm talking U.S., so it'll be Winchester, CCI, Remington, all that. Federal was what a lot of guys that competed in that, they only used federal, and for that reason. So I said, okay, let me go get some federal primers. It was almost 2 years. I couldn't find it. I went online. I went to the different guys selling stuff. And sometimes you can't find it online. Where these fellas get this at the gun show, these distributors, old stock or something. Sometimes they'd have powdered primers. I could not find federal small pistol. I could find large rifle and everything. I went online, and I think Grafs and Sons said out of stock. Don't know when it'll ever be back in stock. No back orders. So it was weird. And I was surprised when I went there and finally found these after almost 2 years. I went to several gun shops, and they said, we don't have small pistol. We got magnums, a large rifle, whatever. But we just don't have the standard small pistol primers. And he goes, I haven't had them in here. He goes, I've had them on order. He goes, for over 8 months, but I haven't got them back in stock. So I have no idea, and it's strange like that. That's the weird thing. You can't find something, but now it's all coming back. 22 ammunition is all over the place. Okay, I finally found these primers. The turnout is less. There's less vendors at a gun show. Prices, retail prices on stock guns like this, common guns, popular ones, are dropping. And it's weird, okay?